You ever notice how some people seem to just coast through life financially while you're out here grinding and still broke? Like they're playing a completely different game with different rules. Well, here's the thing nobody wants to tell you. They are playing a different game. The money game is rigged, and if you don't know the actual rules, you're gonna lose every single time. My name's Sydney, and I spend way too much time figuring out how money actually works, not how we've been told it works. If you're tired of playing by rules that keep you broke while others get rich, hit subscribe and give this video a thumbs up. And if it makes you a little angry, good. You should be. Because sometimes getting upset about your situation is the first step to actually changing it. Let me start with the most important rule that nobody teaches you. Rule number 1, earned income is for suckers. That's harsh, but it's true. The tax system is literally designed to punish people who work for their money and reward people who make money from owning stuff. You go to work, trade your time for dollars, and the government takes like 30-40% of it right off the top. Meanwhile, someone who owns stocks or real estate pays half that rate or less on their gains. And this isn't an accident. This isn't some random quirk of the system. It's designed this way on purpose. The people who make the rules own assets, so they made rules that favor asset owners. If your only source of income is a paycheck, you're playing the game on hard mode while everyone else is playing on easy, that W-2 income you're so proud of. That's the most heavily taxed money you can possibly make. But here's what really makes this insane. I mean, most people think the solution is to just make more W-2 income, get promoted, work harder, get a better job. And sure, making more money helps, but you're still getting crushed by taxes. Someone making $200,000 from their job is getting destroyed by taxes compared to someone making $200,000 from investments. The same amount of money, completely different tax treatment. The game is rigged. Rule number 2, debt isn't actually bad. I know. Every financial guru tells you to pay off all your debt. Be debt-free. Debt is evil. But that's advice for poor people. Rich people use debt all the time. They just use it differently. The difference is good debt versus bad debt, and most people don't know which is which. Bad debt is borrowing money to buy stuff that loses value. Credit cards for clothes, car loans for depreciating vehicles, financing furniture, all of that. You're paying interest on things that are worth less every single day. That's financial suicide. But good debt? That's borrowing money to buy assets that make you more money. A mortgage on a rental property where tenants pay it off for you. A business loan that generates revenue. That's how rich people use debt. And here's the really crazy part. Rich people often pay less interest than poor people, even though they're borrowing more money. Banks give better rates to people who don't need the money and worse rates to people who are desperate. It's backwards, but that's how it works. If you've got money and assets, you can borrow huge amounts at 3-4%. If you're broke and need help, you're paying 18, 20, 25% on credit cards. The system rewards people who already have money and punishes people who don't. Rule number 3, your house is not an asset. I know this triggers people, but it's true. Your primary residence, the house you live in, is not making you money. It's costing you money. Mortgage, property taxes, insurance, maintenance, utilities, all of it is just expenses. Yeah, maybe it appreciates in value over time. Great, but you can't spend that appreciation unless you sell the house, and then you need somewhere else to live. Rich people understand this. Their primary residence is usually modest compared to what they could afford because they know it's just an expense. They put their money into actual assets that generate income. Rental properties, businesses, investments, things that put money in their pocket every month instead of taking it out. But middle-class people are convinced their house is their biggest investment, and they dump all their money into it while wondering why they're not getting ahead. And the banks love this. They convinced everyone that a mortgage is good debt because you're building equity. But for the first 10 years of a mortgage, almost all your payment is interest. You're basically renting money from the bank and they're calling it homeownership. Meanwhile, if you'd taken that down payment and monthly payment and invested it instead, you'd probably have way more money. But nobody wants to hear that because we've been brainwashed to think homeownership is the American dream. Rule number 4, the best time to invest was yesterday. The second best time is right now. But most people wait. They wait until they feel like they have enough money. They wait until the market feels safe. They wait until they understand everything. And while they're waiting, they're losing. Because time is literally the most valuable thing you have when it comes to building wealth. Compound interest is the most powerful force in finance, but it needs time to work. Someone who invests $500 a month starting at 25 will have way more money at 65 than someone who invests $1,000 a month starting at 40. Way more. Like millions more. Because that extra 15 years of compounding is worth more than doubling your contributions. But people don't get this. They think they'll start investing later when they're making more money. By the time later comes, they've already lost the game. And the system is designed to keep you from investing early. Student loans, entry-level wages that barely cover expenses, cultural pressure to spend money on stuff, all of it keeps young people from investing when time is on their side. By the time you're financially stable enough to invest, you've already wasted your most valuable years. It's almost like it's designed that way. Rule number 5. Inflation is a hidden tax that destroys your savings. Nobody talks about this enough. If you're keeping all your money in a savings account, you're losing money every single year. Yeah, your account balance stays the same, but your purchasing power is shrinking. If inflation is 3% and your savings account pays 0.5%, you're losing 2.5% per year in real terms. Over 10 years, that's 25% of your money just evaporating. You didn't spend it, you were being responsible and saving it. And it still lost value because inflation is constantly eating away at cash. But investments, real assets, they tend to keep up with or beat inflation. Stocks, real estate, businesses, they grow with the economy. Cash just sits there dying slowly. And who does this hurt the most? Poor people. Rich people don't keep their money in cash. They keep it invested in things that grow. But poor people who are told to save money in a savings account for emergencies are watching their money lose value every year. The system punishes you for playing it safe. Rule number 6. You can't save your way to wealth. You can only invest your way there. Saving is important for emergencies and short-term goals. But if you think you're going to save your way to retirement, to financial freedom, to wealth, you're delusional. The math doesn't work. Even if you save $1,000 a month for 30 years, you'll have $360,000. That sounds like a lot until you realize it's not enough to retire on. But if you invest that same $1,000 a month at an average 8% return, you'll have over $1.4 million. Same amount of money going in, 4 times more coming out. That's the difference between saving and investing. Saving is playing defense. Investing is playing offense. You need both, but you can't win the game just playing defense. Most people don't invest because they're scared. They're scared of losing money, scared of the market crashing, scared of making mistakes, so they keep their money in savings accounts earning nothing while inflation destroys it. Meanwhile, rich people are investing and getting richer, and the gap keeps growing. Rule number 7. Financial education is deliberately kept from you. Think about everything you learned in school. Math, history, science, literature, all of it. But when did anyone teach you about taxes, investing, compound interest, how money actually works? They didn't. You graduated and got thrown into the real world with zero financial education, expected to figure it out on your own. This isn't an accident. If everyone understood how money really worked, if everyone knew the rules of the game, the system wouldn't work the same way. The system depends on most people not knowing what they're doing with money. It depends on people making bad financial decisions, paying high interest rates, staying in debt, not investing. That's how wealth gets concentrated at the top. And when you try to learn about money on your own, you get terrible advice. Get out of debt at all costs, buy a house as soon as possible, save 6 months of expenses, get a good job and work your way up. All of this advice keeps you playing small, while rich people are playing a completely different game that nobody told you about. Rule number 8, your time is worth more than you think and less than you think at the same time. Here's what I mean. Most people waste time on stuff that doesn't matter because they don't value their time correctly. They'll spend an hour driving across town to save $5 on groceries. They'll spend 3 hours trying to fix something themselves instead of paying someone $50 to do it. They don't do the math on what their time is worth. But at the same time, people overvalue their time when it comes to trading it for money. They think because they make $30 an hour at their job, their time is worth $30 an hour. But that's not how it works. That's just what someone is willing to pay you for specific tasks during specific hours. Your time could be worth way more if you were using it differently. Learning new skills, building a business, creating something valuable. Rich people understand this. They don't trade time for money directly. They create systems and assets that make money whether they're working or not. Poor people show up and trade hours for dollars. Rich people build things that generate income 24/7. That's the real difference. Rule number 9, the middle class is a trap designed to keep you working forever. Think about it. You make enough money to be comfortable, but not enough to be free. You can afford a nice house, but you have to work to pay the mortgage. You can afford a decent car, but you have to work to make the payment. You can take vacations, but you need that paycheck to fund them. You're comfortable enough that you're not motivated to take big risks, but not wealthy enough to actually be free. You're stuck in this middle zone where you have just enough to lose that you're scared to make bold moves. And that's exactly where the system wants you. Working, paying taxes, consuming, but never quite getting ahead enough to break free. The middle class thinks they're winning because they're not poor, but they're not rich either. They're just comfortably trapped. And the gap between middle class and actual wealth keeps getting bigger because the rules favor people at the top. Rule number 10, insurance is a scam, except when it's not. This one's tricky because insurance companies have figured out the perfect business model. They sell you fear and make billions doing it. Extended warranties, phone insurance, rental car coverage, all of these are designed to take your money for things that probably won't happen. The math is always in their favor, never yours are. But here's the twist. The insurance you actually need, the catastrophic stuff, most people don't have enough of. Health insurance, life insurance, if you have dependents, liability coverage. This is the stuff that protects you from total financial destruction, but people are out here paying for Apple Care and skipping on disability insurance. It's completely backwards. The system has trained us to insure our phones and our TVs, but not our income or our lives. Why? Because the insurance companies make way more money selling you warranties on stuff that rarely breaks than they do on policies that actually protect your financial future. They're literally selling you the wrong insurance on purpose because it's more profitable. You're insuring things instead of insuring your ability to make money. That's the scam. Rule number 11. Your network determines your net worth more than your work ethic. Nobody wants to hear this because we're all told that hard work is the key to success. Just grind harder, hustle more, outwork everyone. But that's not how wealth actually gets built. The people making real money aren't working harder than you. They know people who create opportunities for them. You want to know why rich people's kids end up rich? It's not just inheritance, it's access. They grow up around people who own businesses, invest in startups, know about opportunities before they're public knowledge. They go to schools where their classmates are future executives and entrepreneurs. Their network is built in. Meanwhile, regular people are grinding 60-hour weeks and wondering why they're not getting ahead. And it's not even about sucking up to rich people or being fake. It's about understanding that opportunities come through people, not through job boards. That business idea that could make you money. You need to know people who can fund it. That career jump that could double your income. You need to know someone who can refer you. That investment opportunity that could change your life. Someone has to tell you about it first. If you're only around people at your same income level, you're only going to hear about the same opportunities they have, which is probably not much. The game is rigged toward people who already know other people with money and power. If you're not intentionally building relationships with people who are ahead of you financially, you're playing with one hand tied behind your back. And yeah, it feels unfair because it is unfair, but that's the game. Rule number 12, consumption is the enemy of wealth, but you're surrounded by messages telling you to consume. Every single day, you're being hit with thousands of messages designed to make you spend money. Social media, TV, billboards, influencers, all of it is engineered to make you feel like you need more stuff. New clothes, new tech, new experiences, new everything. And every dollar you spend on consumption, is a dollar that's not building wealth. Rich people understand this. They consume less and invest more, but they don't talk about it because there's no social credit for not buying stuff. There's no Instagram flex for maxing out your retirement account. Nobody's posting their investment portfolio gains like they post their vacation photos. So we only see the consumption side of everyone's life and think that's normal. Meanwhile, the entire economy depends on you spending money you don't have on stuff you don't need. Credit cards make it easy. Buy now, pay later makes it easier. Subscription services make you forget you're even spending. The system is literally designed to extract money from you as efficiently as possible, and most people don't even realize it's happening. They think they're making choices, but really they're being programmed to consume. And the worst part? We judge each other based on consumption. We respect people who have nice cars and nice clothes and take nice vacations. We don't respect people who drive old cars and wear regular clothes because they're dumping every extra dollar into investments. We've been trained to admire the wrong things, to value consumption over wealth building. That's how they keep us broke. Rule number 13. You have to play the rigged game, but you don't have to play by their rules. Here's the thing. You can't opt out of the system entirely. You live in a society with taxes, expenses, financial obligations. You have to participate. But once you understand the rules, you can start playing smarter. Stop trying to get rich from a paycheck. Build assets that generate income. Use debt strategically instead of avoiding it entirely. Invest early and consistently. Understand that your house is an expense, not an investment. Learn about taxes and legal ways to pay less. Value your time correctly and use it to build instead of just trade. The game is rigged, but people still win it. The difference is they know the actual rules instead of the fake rules they teach in school and in mainstream financial advice. They know that the system is designed to keep most people poor and working while concentrating wealth at the top. And once you know that, you can stop playing their game and start playing your own. Look, I'm not saying it's easy. The system is designed to make it hard for regular people to build wealth, but it's not impossible. You just have to stop believing the lies you've been told about how money works and start learning the real rules. Stop thinking that working harder and saving more is going to make you rich. Start thinking like an investor and an owner instead of an employee and a consumer. The money game is rigged. That's not going to change. But once you understand how it's rigged, you can use that knowledge to your advantage. Instead of being another person who works their whole life and has nothing to show for it. Figure out the real rules, play by them, and maybe you'll actually win. Because most people won't. They'll keep playing by the fake rules and wondering why they're losing. Don't be most people.